As a facilitator, we've often had those moments where we open the session with something funny or an exercise just to get people moving and smiling and all of that. And so you make the mistake of trying something like a joke or a funny statement or a quote or an exercise that you've never tried before. So you have no idea how they're going to react. Then you launch the thing, might be everybody find a partner and figure out your favorite color. And then all of a sudden, the room just dies. The energy goes down. Nobody really understands what this is all about. And all of a sudden, you're off to not a great start when your intentions were so good. You really just wanted it to be fun. And so we're going to be giving a lot of advice about how we can make sessions more fun, how we can get them smiling and get them energized and having a great time as we advertised it would be at the beginning. So I welcome everybody to Let's Skill Up. This is our training table. I'm Charles Fellingham. I am joined by Karie Albaran, and we're the co-founders of Let's Skill Up. And today we're talking about one of the most misunderstood ideas in training: making it fun. Because fun in the wrong hands tanks credibly, but in the right hands, it's one of the most powerful tools you can have.
I think about my own experience as a trainer. I've had those moments happen where I'm just thinking the energy is just dropping. It's right after lunch. People are starting to fall asleep. I just need to get people moving, have some fun here. And yes, Charles, I have very much committed those traps of saying, we just got to have some fun here. And then I get crickets. I get people just looking at me like, why do you want me to do that thing, Karie? That just does not make sense. It's not related to the training at all.
Right.
I get pushback. And it's that common trap that we get. And it's because of our mindset, right? Of thinking, why do we want to embed some fun in here? On a surface level, we want to embed that engagement, right? Interaction, the participation, get people doing and moving.
Mm-hmm.
And if we dive a little bit deeper, what we really need to be thinking about is fun doesn't equal engagement. And engagement, true engagement, is really getting people to start to own the learning itself, right? To dive in, to take action, take ownership over the experience, not just absorb it from the trainer, right? And if we think from that perspective, how do I drive true engagement with the learning? Then we can embed fun that is relevant and engaging for our participants. So let's talk about, go ahead.
Yeah, it's so true. I mean, we need to be intentional as part of our preparation for the delivery in making sure that the fun part actually speaks to the learning part and they're connected.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. We typically kind of have, if we can boil it down to two mistakes here as trainers. One is that fun itself has nothing to do with the content, right? For example, it's a warm-up game that's just a warm-up game. Or we have people, say, what's your favorite color? And that has nothing to do with the content itself, the reason why we're there. The other common mistake is that it can patronize. It can be things like tossing out some candy for answering a question, just any random question, or activities designed for a middle school classroom where we're working with the C-suite, right? So we have to make sure that we are aligning the activity, the engagement, that fun piece with the audience that we're working with, the level of experience, the level of professionalism that we're working with.
Yeah, match the fun to the room. It's
Mm-hmm.
like you said, you got high level people in there. They all have fun, but I think they like to have fun in different ways than maybe, orientation folks, high pose, new people that are young, new in their company. And so you've got to really match your level of creating fun to what the room demands.
Exactly. And in every single warm-up activity, whatever it is we do, have that debrief, right? Here's why we did it. Or better yet, ask them, Why
Yeah.
do you think we did this? How is it relevant to the skill that we're building?
Yep.
So, what are some common traps that you've seen, Charles, as you've experienced trying to embed fun into learning?
I'm just trying too hard sometimes. They call it fun as a decoration.
Hmm.
And so you're really trying to change the mood, but it's not necessarily connected to the material. And so you're intentional about wanting to have a fun moment, but you hadn't really thought about the connection that it makes.
Hmm.
And people love competitions, but when there's no sort of consequence or payoff at the end of a competition, it kind of takes the fun out of it. I do this one exercise where people accumulate points, stars. They accumulate stars, which seems kind of, not so adultish. But then the one with the most stars gets a Starbucks card worth about $10. I think that'll buy
Hmm.
one Starbucks and a coffee, a creamer at Starbucks.
Right.
But they know when there's skin in the game, then they tend to compete better. It just seems.
Ironic, right? How you said competitions with no stakes are not fun.
Yeah, right.
Where our entire goal is to embed fun, or as our surface level goal, right? Like we've already established. I would agree. Other traps that I've seen are games that reward speed, not accuracy or depth, right? The team that can do this the fastest wins.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
if we think about
right.
translating that to work, to our
What?
real world,
Yeah.
oftentimes, yes, speed and efficiency are important, but we have to have that accuracy. We have to have that depth. We're not just doing it to do it. We are doing it in a training room. We are doing it to learn,
Oh
right? So we
yeah.
have to make sure that we're embedding that friction, that opportunity to learn and to dive deeper and to create that depth. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. When you're
mhm.
doing exercises or activities or things that are fun, the debrief is not, wasn't that fun? The debrief should be, this is how it's connected to the learning, and take people to that place so that they can make that connection.
Exactly. And then this is how it's connected to the learning, or how might this be connected to the skill that we're building? And how can we take this now from the training room to the real world, right? What are some
Yep.
application opportunities that we see? What are some challenges that we see that we can take from this lesson, right? This basically metaphor that we might have taken them through this, yes, fun activity. I think the best engagement techniques aren't fun add-ons, right? They're the primary delivery mechanism. The learning happens in the game, in the engagement, not after it, and not just by having a game embedded into or inserted into the learning.
Right. Yeah, you set it up that way. I mean, when I'm going to tell you a story about a group I had. The subject was collaboration, and it was kind of a dry subject. The content, it was not content I developed or designed. It was given for me to deliver, and I'm just looking at the content with, oh, how do I bring this to life?
Or no, was it one of those, here's how you collaborate effectively?
Yeah, that's right. Here's the 3 points we're going to make, and
Oh
and so
no.
it's all just core content research. And I could tell it was like two Sominex and a glass of milk. It was going to put them out. So I inserted an energizing exercise. It was really cool. So I had about 3 tables, 4 people at each table, and I bought 3 childhood puzzles, 100 pieces, with big print, big puzzle,
Hmm.
100 pieces. Each of those puzzles were different. What I did was I put the puzzles pieces in a bag, so they had to put the puzzle together. They didn't have the cover, so they didn't know what the puzzle looked like. They had to figure it out.
Hmm.
Plus, I took like 3 or 4 pieces of the puzzle out and put them in the bags of the other groups, so they didn't even have all of their pieces, and they had pieces from a different puzzle. And they had 3 minutes to put their puzzle together.
Whew.
And about 2 minutes in, they realized, hey, we don't have all of our pieces, and we've got pieces from other places. And it just turned into chaos as the teams were trying to find their pieces at the other people's tables. And it proved the point, and you made the connection. You got to collaborate. And they loved it. I mean, they really talked about it, and it was a theme that you could link back to through the entire rest of the session.
I love it. I love it. Yes. Make it real, right? Make it relevant, engaging, and get them to experience that friction that the content is all like centered around, right? Completely agree. So if we boil it down to some tools, some techniques that our trainers can apply in their own trainings, I think we can land on a handful of techniques here. There are many, many, many. There are many more in our playbook on letskillup.com, but we'll talk about a handful here. One in itself very common are team competitions, right? What this can
Yep.
look like in an engagement perspective, not just doing it to have fun, is groups earn points for the correct answers, fastest responses, most accurate responses, best examples. We can have a leaderboard throughout the training to make it visible, and to keep people really, really engaged in the competition aspect.
Yeah.
Why that works is because the stakes, like you mentioned, Charles, they can create focus, right? By creating that leaderboard and that sense of I want to win, people want to stay focused, stay engaged, pay attention, and bring something more than just following through with the motions, right?
Right. I love another technique called earning stars. I've done this
Hmm.
many times before with mostly positive outcomes. There was one that I have to talk about. But anyway, it's a way to promote engagement. I'll tell you how. Is you say, okay, so whenever I say star worthy, then give your, and yeah, I have these little stars that I have lying around on the tables, little sticky ones. You put a star on your name tag. And so the first person gets up and they give a valued comment. And I go star worthy, and they're looking at me like what? And then all of a sudden the team at the table realizes that that means they get a star, and the team that gets the most wins a significant prize. You get to determine what that is. But all of a sudden people realize when they're going to be rewarded for contributing, more people contribute, and
Hmm.
it's fun. It's just
And
fun.
notice too the depth of the contribution, right? So it's not just the fact that they contributed, but something that was quote unquote star worthy, right? Relevant to the conversation, helping to learn, helping to drive insights.
Yep.
Um, I think one of the things that I've seen you do with stars too, that I might have, stolen, is people in the group can also give stars to each other
They
when they
can.
hear something that's insightful, right?
Yeah.
Or when they hear a good tip, they can give stars to each other, and then that starts to create this environment of giving positive recognition. Yeah, I might have stolen that from you.
It's fun
Um,
chaos.
I think another helpful technique is skits. This is
Yep.
a dangerous one because sometimes people can say, why in the world are you asking me to act in front of the group here? I'm
Right.
not ready for this. This is way too embarrassing. We have to set up the why, right? We have to set up the what's in it for you, the whippy. Um, and when done well, when we truly sell what's behind this, things like, let's say we're practicing some core concepts or principles, we need to bring them to life to better understand what they look like in the real world or what they
Yep.
might not look like in the real world. And the
Yep.
more that we do that, the more that we can truly engage with those concepts, the more then we can see what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah, and have
That
fun
could
with
be
it
an
because some
example of the
people,
why, right?
right? Some people push back on skits. We're going to do what?
Mhm.
Like role plays. We're going to do
Role
what?
plays, yes, they push back on
And
role
so
plays too.
exactly. So what you got to do is make the skits fun. So there will be Academy Awards given out, and you get to vote on who gets them. And that
Exactly.
way, people are going. Again, you're combining the team competitions or earning rewards, and all of a sudden they go, oh, we're just play acting, and then they relax and then they have fun. And you make sure that as you listen to the group's prep, that the first group is the one who's really giving it their all,
They set the bar.
undrained, right? Yeah, because that invites everybody to jump into it.
Exactly. Exactly. Another thing that I like doing with the skits is if those principles or core concepts are available to everyone, while one team is presenting their skit, the others in the background have to all be guessing what are the core concepts that they were tasked with,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
That way I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but oftentimes the teams who are not presenting like to continue to collaborate and to, hone their skit,
Yeah,
refine their skit while
yeah,
the other is presenting. So this keeps people engaged, keeps people watching the skit rather than refining with their team in the background.
yeah. We focused a lot on activities. I want to add something.
Hmm.
Activities can make them fun, make them relevant, make them connect. But there's also fun things you can do that don't involve an activity or a skit. For instance, just a
Yep.
deck of cards. A deck of cards gives you an almost unlimited way in which you can get people into groups. And I always like to throw the jokers in because I go, all right, where are the aces? You're in a group. We're the jokers. You're in a group. Everybody laughs. And those little kind of things where you're just, transitioning or setting up something in terms of different groups or whatever, you can make those fun too. I
Hmm.
like to, in a small group, I'll say, raise your hand if you're sitting next to somebody you like. And they're looking around the room and they raise their hand, and all of a sudden everybody starts laughing because I'll go, okay, this will work now. The little things like that really help to add some clever flavor to the room.
Exactly. And it keeps them on their toes from a group standpoint. It ensures that they don't continue to form groups with their friends, right? With the same people that they came to the training with, but now we
Yeah,
can make sure that they get different perspectives. I think I've also stolen from you the different colors or the
yeah,
different symbols on name tents. So we can put stickers with different colors on the name tents, blue, yellow, red, etc. And then we can say, all right, everyone who's blue will be in a group. Everyone who's yellow will
right,
be in a group, or
right.
different numbers. All of the number ones will be over here. There are
Yeah.
so many different ways, and I agree. It creates an element of fun in the essence or in the effort to drive that different thinking, the collaboration, and getting different perspectives.
It sure does. Yeah. Yeah. Avoid the everybody count off to one, two, three. That's just so unprofessional. There's so many better
Yeah.
ways to do it.
So many and much more efficient ways to do it.
Yeah.
So if we boil it down to maybe a handful of principles, right, for our trainers to keep in mind, I would say number one principle, whenever we are diving into something quote unquote fun, is to be explicit and clear about why we are doing it, right? Just like we mentioned with the skits, here's why we're doing this. It might seem a little weird. The point is to step outside of our comfort zones because how often in the real world do we have to be outside of our comfort zones? And this will help us to practice these different skills that we've been talking about.
Yeah.
I think,
I like that. That's so true. I mean, making that connection, I think it's the theme we've been pronouncing through this whole podcast. And it doesn't have to be real complex either. Keep it simple. Keep
mhm,
the prizes simple. Keep the rules
exactly.
simple.
Don't
And
over engineer it. Don't
yeah,
confuse
that's right.
people.
That's right. That's right.
And just like we mentioned earlier, match the technique to the audience, right?
Yeah.
So whatever is most relevant to them, but allows for a little bit of stretch, right? We meet them where they are, plus a little stretch.
All right.
And then once we've stretched them a little, maybe we can stretch them a little bit more, right? But if we meet them way outside their comfort zone in their panic zone, there's no way they're going to join us in the panic zone. So meet
Right.
them where they are.
If you're going to take them out of their comfort zone, put them in the learning zone. And
Hmm.
that's why you
Exactly.
always debrief. That's our fourth principle, because you want to connect the dots. They may have, and as we debrief, we know we ask questions really instead of telling them as a preferred way, but always debrief and make those connections. This is why we did this and how it connects to the content they're going to be using when they leave the room.
Exactly. Exactly. So if we bring all of these core fun concepts to a close here, what would you say are three takeaways for our trainers to keep in mind?
Well, the theme that we had made through the whole thing was, connect the learning to the fun.
Hmm.
Uh, Sometimes, and that's one. Another thing is fun means you've got to have fun too. As a facilitator, there's one person in the room that's going to have the time of their life through the whole session, and it's better be you,
Yeah,
because if you're not having fun, they won't, no matter how good your activities
exactly.
fun things are. So get your resting face to a happy face.
Exactly, exactly. We are the ones who set the tone, right?
Right.
So I would say, the next time that you're tempted to add a game or embed some fun into your session, ask yourself one thing. What skill does this require them to use? If you can answer that clearly, it's not a game anymore. Yes,
Yeah.
it's fun, but it's purposeful and it's driving engagement. So it's a practice activity with a competitive wrapper around it. And that's exactly what great training looks like.
Right. Yeah, I couldn't have said it any better. I think that we've made the point in a big way, and that is enjoy yourself, create things that everybody's going to enjoy. If at the end of the session they say the time went by really fast, pat yourself on the back because
Oh,
you
yeah.
inserted fun in it for sure.
So thanks everyone for joining us for this Let's Skill Up trainer table. If this landed, share it with a trainer or an L&D manager in your network and come back for more of our trainer table talks. Remember to visit us on let'skillup.com where we have our playbook, where we have our 101 facilitator tips, and plenty of ways of how to embed fun and engaging and relevant activities into your session. See you next time.